A man was stranded on Mars for an entire month. Worse yet, the whole world thought he was dead. Not only were his crewmates convinced he'd died, but even NASA on Earth held a funeral for him. It all started with a sudden megastorm. Mark, who was on a mission, was unfortunately hit by antenna debris and instantly lost contact. The storm was so powerful that his crewmates determined he couldn't have survived. To ensure the safety of the remaining crew, the captain was forced to order evacuation, leaving him behind on Mars forever. However, no one expected Mark would stubbornly survive. After escaping death, he quickly assessed his situation. His food and resources would last 400 days at most, but the next manned spacecraft wouldn't arrive for at least 4 years. To stay alive, Mark prepared to do something historic. To survive on Mars, he needed to solve the food problem. Mark's solution was to become a Martian farmer and grow enough potatoes to last 3 years. First, he converted the lab into a giant greenhouse, covering the floor with Mars' barren soil. Then he used tools to create neat furrows, thoroughly preparing for planting. Next came the fertilization step. He used the bagged human waste left by his crewmates as natural fertilizer. Though the pungent smell made him nauseous, survival trumped comfort. He carefully buried the waste in the soil and planted cut potato pieces. A Martian farm began to take shape. The most crucial step was creating water. Mark, a top scientist, planned to break down rocket fuel to make water. He decomposed the fuel into hydrogen, preparing to ignite it to combine with oxygen. However, his first attempt resulted in a violent explosion that nearly killed him. He'd forgotten to calculate the oxygen concentration from his own breath. Learning from this mistake, he wore a protective suit to isolate his breathing and tried again. This time the experiment succeeded, with water slowly dripping through the pipes. By day 54, a miracle happened. A potato sprout stubbornly pushed through the Martian soil. This touch of green ignited Mark's survival instinct. Time flew by, and soon he harvested his first batch of Martian potatoes. With the food problem temporarily solved, a bolder plan formed in his mind. He needed to reach the designated landing area 3,200 kilometers away within 4 years to meet the next crew. However, his rover only had a range of 35 kilometers. For this long journey, he needed to solve not just food and charging issues, but also survive alone in a cramped vehicle for nearly 2 months, fighting potentially deadly cold. It was almost an impossible mission, but Mark had no choice. To get home, he had to risk everything. Meanwhile, a satellite analyst on Earth spotted something moving on Mars. He immediately reported it, and the entire space center erupted. The news that Mark was still alive spread worldwide, and all of humanity held their breath. Scientists immediately began developing rescue plans, but they quickly realized they had no way to contact Mark. Even more problematic, his crewmates were piloting their spacecraft back to Earth, completely unaware.